Grace Miller woke up at 3 a.m. She was screaming from a nightmare. She had the same dream for 2 weeks. A chestnut mare running through darkness. The horse disappeared into shadows. It never came back. But this was not just a dream anymore. Her horse Star was vanishing every night. Grace got out of bed. Her feet hit the cold floor. She grabbed a flashlight. Her hands shook as she ran to the stable. The barn door was open. Star's stall was empty. The door had a complex latch. No horse could open it from inside. Grace had installed it herself. She'd dealt with escape artists before. Yet Star got out every night. Grace blamed her son Jake at first. Maybe he forgot to lock the latch after feeding. "I swear I locked it, Mom," Jake said. His voice was confused. "I triple-checked it like always." Grace's husband Tom checked the latch. He spent an afternoon examining it. Everything worked perfectly. The mystery drove the Miller family crazy. Star had never escaped before. She was the calmest horse on the property. For 12 years, she was perfect. Gentle with children. Good during training. Never caused problems. But something changed recently. During the day, Star seemed restless. She paced along the fence. Her ears turned toward the east edge of their land. Her eyes looked distant. "She's acting like she's listening," Grace told Tom one evening. They watched Star from the kitchen window. Tom nodded. "Or looking for someone." That comment chilled Grace. The Miller farm had 40 acres of Kentucky hills. Their nearest neighbor lived a mile away. Dense woods separated them. The eastern border backed up to an abandoned farm. That farm had been empty for 3 years. Grace heard disturbing rumors about the previous owner. Local people whispered about Harold Grimm. They talked about how he treated animals. Many complaints were filed over the years. Neighbors heard sounds of distress from his property. But Grimm always avoided consequences. He improved conditions before inspections. He hid the worst cases. He threatened people who spoke out. Then one day, he vanished. He left behind dozens of neglected animals. Most were rescued by sanctuaries. The property stayed abandoned. Grace shuddered thinking about that land. On a cold Tuesday in November, Grace made a decision. It would change everything. She was going to follow Star. Grace set her alarm for 2 a.m. She dressed in dark clothes. She grabbed a powerful flashlight. Her heart pounded as she crept to the stable. Star's stall door was open. The mare was gone. Grace felt panic. Where was Star? How long had she been missing? Then she heard it. A soft whinny in the distance. It came from the abandoned Grimm property. Grace's blood ran cold. She followed a deer trail through thick woods. Branches scratched her face and jacket. Her flashlight cut through darkness. Every step brought her closer to answers. She wasn't sure she wanted them. Before we continue, please, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. After 20 minutes, Grace reached Grimm's property. What she saw would haunt her forever. Star stood beside a wooden shelter. Her head was lowered over a small form in the mud. Grace's flashlight lit up the scene. It was a pony. Barely alive. Its ribs showed through matted fur. Open wounds covered its legs. It was too weak to lift its head. But Star was there. She nuzzled the pony gently. She shared her body heat. She stood guard through the cold night. Grace realized this had happened for weeks. Every night, Star escaped to visit this suffering animal. This forgotten victim of Grimm's cruelty. Everyone thought all animals were rescued. But this pony was overlooked. Left to die alone. Except Star found her. Grace dropped to her knees by the pony. Through tears, she saw it was a young mare. Probably 3 years old. Her coat would be beautiful palomino under the dirt. "Oh, sweetheart," Grace whispered. "How long have you been here?" The pony's eyes opened at her voice. They were beautiful amber. But they held pain and exhaustion. Grace called Tom immediately. Then the vet. Then animal control. Within an hour, help arrived. Dr. Lila Grayson was their vet for 8 years. She'd seen neglect before. But this pony's condition shocked even her. "She's severely malnourished," Dr. Grayson said. "Dehydrated. Multiple injuries. I'm amazed she's alive." The pony was too weak to stand alone. Her hooves were overgrown and cracked. Her teeth were terrible from eating scraps. "How long has she been alone?" Grace asked. Based on her condition, at least 6 months. Maybe longer. Grace felt sick. This animal suffered in silence. Forgotten. Abandoned. She faced cold nights and empty days alone. Except for Star. Somehow, Star sensed the pony's distress. Night after night, she broke free. She traveled through dark woods. She risked her safety to comfort a stranger. The team carefully loaded the pony into a trailer. She needed weeks of medical care. As they prepared to leave, Grace saw something glinting. Hidden under a tarp near the shelter was a metal box. Inside were stacks of wet paperwork. "We need these," Grace told Dr. Grayson. "They might be important." Grace put the documents in a plastic bag. In the darkness and chaos, there was no time to read them. The next morning, Grace discovered the truth. She sat at her kitchen table with coffee. She spread out the dried papers. Her hands trembled as she read. Medical records. Vet bills. Legal documents. All prove that Grimm deliberately left this pony behind. The papers revealed her name. Moonbeam Silverlight. One document was especially damning. It was Grimm's handwritten note. "Hide the palomino in back shelter. Tell them she died already." Grace shook with rage reading his words. This wasn't accidental neglect. This was deliberate abandonment of a helpless animal. "We're calling the police," Tom said when Grace showed him. But Grace was planning something else. Grace couldn't sleep that night. She thought about Star's compassion. The loyalty she showed to a stranger. The courage to venture into darkness every night. Most humans wouldn't have done what Star did. The next morning, Grace made another decision. It would spark a community movement. She posted a video on social media. She told Star and Moon's story. The response was overwhelming. Within 24 hours, the video was shared thousands of times. Comments poured in from around the world. People were moved by Star's dedication. But the local response amazed Grace most. Neighbors she'd never met showed up at their farm. They offered to help care for Moon. They brought supplies and donations. They shared their own rescue stories. Sarah Johnson was a retired teacher. She offered to volunteer. "I've always wanted to help animals," she said. "This seems perfect." Mike Thompson owned a construction company. He offered materials and labor. "That old Grimm property needs cleaning up," he said. Those buildings should be rebuilt. Dr. Grayson offered ongoing vet care for free. Animals like Moon deserve a second chance, she said. As word spread, something beautiful happened. People shared their own stories of Grimm's cruelty. Neighbors brought forward evidence they'd been afraid to report. The full scope of his abuse came to light. A local journalist, Amanda Foster, investigated Grimm's background. What she found was worse than anyone imagined. Grimm had moved from state to state for a decade. Always ahead of authorities. Always leaving suffering animals behind. He's a serial animal abuser, Amanda told Grace. Moon might be the key to bringing him to justice. Grace's evidence gave prosecutors what they needed. They could finally file charges. Meanwhile, Moon's recovery was slower than hoped. The pony had suffered months of malnutrition and trauma. Her body was healing. But her spirit remained broken. She flinched from human contact. She refused to eat regularly. She stood motionless in her stall corner. Nothing the team tried helped. Except Star's visits. Every day, Grace brought Star to visit Moon. The moment Star appeared, Moon changed. Her ears perked up. Her eyes brightened. She approached the fence between them. It's like Star is her emotional support animal, Dr. Grayson observed. I've never seen this bond between horses who barely know each other. As Moon grew stronger, the visits became longer. They touched noses through the fence. They shared quiet moments. Star understood what Moon needed for healing. The community's involvement grew stronger daily. Local schools organized fundraisers. The high school agriculture class built new shelters. Garden clubs donated hay and feed. Even the mayor got involved. He declared a support Moon Week. But the most surprising development came from an unexpected source. Harold Grimm's estranged daughter Rebecca saw the viral video. She contacted Grace through social media. I've been looking for that pony for 8 months, she wrote. She belonged to my daughter before my father took her from us. The phone call that followed revealed another heartbreaking layer. Rebecca explained that Moon belonged to her 8-year-old daughter Emma. Emma raised Moon from a foal. They were inseparable for 2 years. When Rebecca divorced her abusive husband, Grimm was supposed to care for Moon temporarily. This was until Rebecca found a new place with proper facilities. But one day, Grimm told Rebecca that Moon had become ill and died. This was very strange. Moon had been perfectly healthy when Rebecca last saw her. But Grimm insisted the pony was gone. When Rebecca demanded to see the body or burial site, Grimm became angry. He refused to show her any proof. Then he disappeared. Emma has been heartbroken ever since, Rebecca said through tears. She asks about Moon every day. She never stopped believing she'd see her pony again. Grace's heart broke listening to this story. Moon hadn't just been abandoned. She'd been stolen from a little girl who loved her. She'd been denied love and care for a long time. The reunion happened on a warm Saturday in spring. Emma was now 10 years old. She'd grown taller. Her voice had changed. But Moon recognized her immediately. The moment Emma approached Moon's pen, the pony transformed. She whinnied with joy. She trotted to the fence with energy. She pressed her face against Emma's hands. Emma was crying too hard to speak at first. I knew you were alive, she finally whispered. I never stopped looking for you. The emotional reunion was captured on video. It became another viral sensation. This time about the power of love overcoming tragedy. But the story wasn't over yet. The case against Grimm proceeded quickly with all the evidence. He was tracked down in Arizona using a false name. He'd continued abusing animals there too. Grimm was brought back to Kentucky for trial. The trial received significant media attention. Grace testified about finding Moon. Dr. Grayson provided expert testimony. Rebecca and Emma spoke about the trauma Grimm caused. The case established important legal precedents about animal welfare. Grimm was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He was banned from owning animals for life. But the most meaningful outcome was what happened to the abandoned property. The community was moved by Moon's story. They decided to transform the site of her suffering. They wanted to create something beautiful and healing. With donated materials and volunteer labor, they converted the 25-acre property. It became the Star and Moon Animal Sanctuary. The sanctuary cared for neglected horses, ponies, and farm animals. It had spacious pastures, modern medical facilities, and comfortable shelters. Moon, now fully recovered and reunited with Emma, ran freely across the pastures. She ran with Star and other rescued animals. The transformation was miraculous. Where there was once suffering, there was now hope and healing. Where animals were forgotten, they were now celebrated and cared for. Emma volunteered at the sanctuary every weekend. She helped with feeding, grooming, and socializing rescued animals. Her bond with Moon remained strong. But now it included helping other animals in need. Moon taught me that animals remember love, Emma said in a news interview. Even when they've been hurt, they never stop hoping someone will care. The sanctuary rescued over 200 animals in 3 years. Each arrived with its own story of neglect or abuse. Each found healing and hope in the same fields where Moon once suffered alone. Sometimes the greatest acts of heroism come not from humans. They come from the animals we share this world with. Star's story reminds us that compassion has no boundaries. Love always finds a way to triumph over neglect and cruelty. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and create more stories.